It is 4 p.m. We're bringing developing news and the stories behind the headlines. This is Storycon at the Story Conference. I'm Ed Lingao. Some stories are watching this Monday, February 10. Allies of the Dutertes have filed graft charges over the alleged 2025 budget anomalies. Complaints include 12 counts of falsification and graft against Speaker Martin Romualdez and others. The charges center on the supposed 241 billion peso insertions in this year's GAA. The 90-day campaign period for national candidates kicks off tomorrow, February 11. 156 party list groups and 66 senatorial bets can now go around the country tomorrow and make the online rounds until May 10, except of course on Monday, Thursday, and Good Friday on April 17 and April 18. Meantime, millennials and Gen Z, including Tito Raul Llamas, reportedly make up 63% of voters for 2025. Of the 69.6 million registered voters, 34.15% are millennials, while 29% are Gen Z. President Marcos appoints Maria Norina Tangaro Casingal as new COMELEC Commissioner. Tangaro Casingal has been with COMELEC since 1998 and led the Law Department since 2016. Another new commissioner is COMELEC Region 1 Director Attorney Noli Pipo. ACT-CIS party list Congressman Erwin Tulfo tops the senatorial preferences in the latest Pulse Asia survey. He leads the poll with 62.8%. Trailing Tulfo are Senator Bongo and former Senate President Tito Soto. And joining us today is Storycon's resident millennial, Storycon's resident political pundit Tito Raul Llamas.
Baka millennium.
Millennium talaga, di ba? Centennial daw. And from the Philippine Star, ito mas bata-bata ng konti ito, ang editor-in-chief ng Star, si Ami Pamintuan.
Hi, happy Monday!
Happy Monday. Ganda naman lang.
Iba yung dating ni Ami.
Ganda naman ang kulay ni Ami. Bagong hair do rin.
Lumalabas dyan ha, iba-iba lumalabas dito sa monitor eh. Dapat to red, orange eh.
Ganun nga. Medyo reddish orange naman. Mukhang bagong gupit ka, Ami bagong gupit
Oo nga, pinalagyan ko ng korte para madali-dali suklayan.
Pinalagyan ng korte.
Hindi na binoblower. Parang blower, suklay lang.
Magsisimula lang ang kampanya bukas nagbago ka lang ng hairdo.
Oo nga eh, para mas presko, mainit sa labas.
Parang bigla ka nag-change image. Di ba? Kasi kami, hindi namin nakokorte na maigi yung aming ulo.
Yan, malamig yan, malamig. At least kayo may sibuk niyo.
Nawala si Ami tuloy. Binati lang yung
video.
Binati lang yung buhok ni Ami, bigla nawala tuloy.
Yung video,
Ako walang buhok. Si Ed, maiksi ang buhok. Ako walang buhok.
That is not taken against you naman.
Tawag doon, purgada.
Di ba ang sabi nila, yung walang buhok, it's a sign of
Wisdom.
Age. Teka. Nagkakasakitan tayo. Bukas pa yung kampanya, hindi pa ngayon. So, wag muna tayo magkasakitan. Are you excited about tomorrow?
Hindi ba nakikita sa mukha ko yung excitement?
Hindi eh.
Parang wala namang magbabago sa politika.
Umasa ka ba? Kahit magka-eleksyon, wala namang magbabago eh.
Medyo interesting yung press call ni Juan kanina, ni Senate President Escudero. Napanood mo ba, Ami?
Nakuha ko lang, hinihintay ko pa yung detalye. Mukhang lalong tatagal yung trial, Yung umpisa ng trial.
Mga tatlong...
Kinukuha ko pa yung details, hindi ko napanood eh. After na daw ng SONA, yung trial.
Ministerial lang daw sila eh. Ministerial. Mga apat na beses ko narinig yung ministerial.
But, the convening of the impeachment court is ministerial, but the act of the trial itself is far from ministerial.
Ang issue naman, hindi naman debate na ngayon kung yung trial ay matatapos sa 20th Congress eh. Mas ang issue ay kailan sisimulan. Mukhang yun ang debate dahil nakalagay sa ating konstitusyon, forthwith.
Forthwith.
Oo. Hinanap ko sa lahat ng dictionary. Ibig sabihin, immediately.
Immediate and without delay.
Without delay. So, kaso parang nakabakasyon na sila. So, medyo madedelay dahil sa mga bakasyon. Baka yung mga plane ticket, hindi na pwedeng i-refund. Yung mga hotel, hindi na kinaka-refund, no? Yung mga
Kasi
restaurant.
Forthwith, hindi fourth quarter.
Hindi. Forthwith, no? Kaya,
Fourth quarter.
tapos
Third
yung,
quarter na yung third quarter.
tapos yung sinabi ni Senator Cheese last week, na pwede lang magpatawag ang presidente ng special session pag daw usapin ng mga bills, no? Legislation. Walang nakalagay na gano'n sa konstitusyon.
Yeah, it does not say in the Constitution.
Binalikan ko ulit. 3 beses kong binasa eh. Wala namang nakalagay.
Pero Ronald, John din ang sinabi ni, ni Justice Antonio Carpio na for legislation. Pero sabi niya, kung ang remedyo, magtatakel ng isang legislative issue, saka isasabay doon yung impeachment.
Hindi, ang sabi ni...
Special session for legislation. Pero pwedeng isabay na impeachment kapag naka-special session for legislation. Hindi ko alam kung tama yan.
Mas ang issue ni Justice
Pero yun
Carpio...
ang sabi niya. Kasi sabi niya, talaga nga daw hindi pwede kung for legislation yung special session. Ay, kung hindi for legislation.
Ami, pinakinggan ko yung sinabi niya. Medyo hindi ganun yung sinabi niya. Ang sabi lang niya ay maapektuhan yung packaging ni Presidente na wala siyang kinalaman sa impeachment. Kaya para masustain yung ganung klaseng packaging niya, ay magpatawag siya ng special session para sa bills, sa priority bills, o halimbawa supplemental budget, para dun sa controversial na budget. Tapos, tsaka niya isabay.
That's also caucus formula.
Tsaka niya isabay yung usapin ng impeachment. So, medyo hindi naman niya sinabi na bawal na magpatawag ng special session. Ang kwan lang niya ay ipagsabay yung dalawa. Yung usapin ng supplemental budget na medyo very controversial sa usapin ng ating GAA. Pero dun niya isabay yung usapin ng impeachment at pwedeng pabilisin by 60 to 70% daw. Mas bibilis daw kung judicial affidavit na lang. Ibig sabihin, wala nang direct cross-examination. No? So meron siyang ganung klaseng proposal na pwede daw tapusin within 10 days. No? Yun yung kanyang sinabi. Kaya tingin ko, yun yung mga pinagdidebatihan ngayon. Paano ba yan? Pwede bang simulan na? Pwede na magtawag? Dahil, ayun nga, nagsalita rin yung mga tiga IBP. Sabi nila, wala naman talaga nakalagay sa konstitusyon na kinakailangan lang magpatawag sa usapin ng legislation tsaka ng mga bills. Kaya nga binasa ko yung konstitusyon 3 beses, wala nakalagay Talagang sole power ng presidente na magpatawag ng special session without qualification. Walang nakalagay na dahilan.
Bok, let me read to you.
Pero sinabi na nga kasi sinabi ni President Marcos, magpapatawag siya if requested, di ba? Paikot-ikot tayo, if requested by the Senate.
Oo nga.
But the
Kaya
pertinent
sabi
provision
naman
is
ng
this
mga nung iba, well, it's completely up to the Senate President if he wants a special session. Pero yun ang hindi ko malinawan ngayon. Hinihintay ko yung detalye, baka may detalye ka na, Ed. Kung ganyan nga daw na judicial remedy, kung magpapalitan lang ng affidavit yan counter-affidavit,
Yes.
and then another affidavit, another counter affidavit. Kung susundin yung hindi calendar days, kung yung working days, aabutin nga daw, hindi ko alam kung tama yung explanation na yun. Kaya nga daw baka malayo, maging after na ng SONA, yung umpisa ng trial. Di ko alam kung may ganun ng impeachment Meron pa ganun parang preliminary investigation. Kung ganyan dadaanan, ewan ko
Wala naman in the past Wala akong nakita in the past na ganun nangyari.
Basta alam ko nung sa KERAP, upon filing ay 24 days, nag-constitute na yung trial. Nagsimula na. No? Yun yung KERAP. Dun kay Corona, 34 days, pagka-transmit, nagsimula na yung trial. Malamang, before nung official trial, may mga preliminary, pag-aayos ng mga rules, etc. etc.
Yun lang rules.
Pagpapatahin ng robes.
Yes. Pero yung trial nagsimula, practically...
Forthwith.
Forthwith.
This is the pertinent provision, Article 6, Section 15. The Congress shall convene once every year on the 4th month of July for its regular session unless a different date is fixed by law. and shall continue to be in session for such number of days as it may determine until 30 days before the opening of the next regular session, exclusive of Saturdays, Sundays, and legal holidays. Period. The President may call a special session at any time. Period. That's as far as it goes.
Walang qualification.
Walang qualifiers ang Section 15 eh. And most of that Section 15 is addressed to yung kalendaryo ng Congress and how often, when it should meet.
Tapos, ang sabi rin ni Justice Carpio, walang rules, mismo sa Senate, walang ganong klaseng rules na binabanggit si Senate President Cheese Escudero.
Gagawin pa lang nila yung rules, di ba? Yun nga sabi nila last week eh. Mukhang babaguhin nila yung i-update yung mga rules ng mga nakaraang impeachment. So iniintay pa natin yung pag-uusapan pa nila. In the meantime, mukhang ang priority ni President Marcos ay yung kampanya. Yun ang announcement ngayon from Malacanang, sasama siya dun sa campaign ng kanyang mga kaalyado dahil medyo dalawa yata yung wala ron, ano? Dalawa yung wala sa top 12 dun sa survey eh. Kaya siya mismo sasama sa kampanya.
Mukhang tatlo. Tatlo yung wala. Si Camille, si Abalos, tsaka si Francis.
Oo nga pala, tatlo. Out dun sa Magic 12. Magic 15 actually, di ba? 12 to 15 yung ano eh.
Yeah. The kickoff tomorrow of the admin is going to be in Ilocos.
Yes.
Of course, the home province of the President. Yung grupo ba ni Duterte, where are they kicking off from?
Hindi ko alam. Ang alam ko, yung sila Kiko sa
Mindanao
Cavite.
dapat sila. Saka sakali.
That's their bastion.
Sila Kiko sa Cavite. Kiko at saka si Bam.
Sila Kiko saan?
Cavite. With Lenny Robredo.
Cavite. Ano siya, striking distance si Bam saka si Kiko Pangilinan. Konting ano lang, konting dagdag na high profile, ano?
Ito sa Pulse.
Sa Pulse.
Okay, I'm looking at sa Pulse Asia, si
Bam, sa Pangilinan ng Bam. Si Amy medyo tumaas na, no? Medyo tumaas na si
Ate
Amy.
Gumit na si Amy, tsaka si Bato also went up by two slots.
Yes, nag-improve sila.
So, I wonder...
So, hindi pa natin alam kung ano yung mga factors dyan, kung bakit nagkaganon. Kasi yung iba, predictable naman yung iba eh.
Tsaka magkakaiba kasi yung mga surveys eh. No? Iba yung sa SWS, iba yung sa Okta, iba yung ito sa Pulse. No?
This was conducted January 18 until the 25th. During that time, wala pa impeachment. Diba? February impeachment eh. What else happened during that time that could have affected these numbers? Na tumaas si Amy at si Bato. The budget?
Tanong natin mamaya.
Amy was against the budget.
Yeah.
Publicly, ha? Yun yung mga public statement niya against sa budget. Si Bato, of course, opposition is against.
Sino mga bumaba? Sino mga bumaba?
Detalye niyang protesta dyan sa yung complaint sa against
mga
sila Martin.
Si Ben Tulfo bumaba bahagya, si Pia Quetano bumaba bahagya, si si Abby Binay bumaba. Si Rebilla tumaas. I'm sorry, I'm looking at September versus January eh. Pacman bumaba rin.
Yeah, parang number 12 yata. Number 12 si Pacman.
Number 12.
Pero siya yung wala ka pa nakikitang billboard, advertisement, wala siya kahit ano pa ako nakikita eh. Kay Pacman. All the rest, marami ng billboards at saka advertisement.
Si Bongo, tsaka si Tulfo. Dami.
Tingnan natin kasi pangako ng COMELEC, they are going to crack down on yung mga advertisements na yan in public places lang naman. Tingnan natin kung ano mangyari bukas.
Yeah. That's a reminder. Tomorrow nga is first day of campaign for the nationals, including part list. So by tomorrow, dapat legal ang pagkakapaskel ng mga pagmumukha ng mga yan. Meaning...
Sa public places.
Public places and the appropriate sizes.
Saka dyan na magsisimula yung bilang in terms of election
Costings.
Spending. No?
Bayaran ba? Yung bayad nung ad.
Paano i-monitor yung social media sa bayaran?
Parating problema yun eh. Parating problema yun. Actually, Bok, hindi yung ang mas malaking tanong, paano na monitor kung sakali yung mga guesting?
Hindi, kanya kasama ba yan sa regulation?
Hindi. Yung mga guesting, ang kasama sa
yung
calculation...
free media? Kasama ba yung free media?
Ang kasama sa calculation usually is ad spend. Yung outright
Yes.
campaign ads.
Exactly.
Pero yung pagbiglang nag-guest sa kung saan sa
yung
mga programa,
free media, hindi kasama yun, alam ko eh.
hindi talaga free yun. Something to ask.
May bago ngayon, di ba? Nakakita na naman ng panibagong loophole itong mga kandidato natin eh. Dahil nga dun sa Supreme Court ruling on political campaign materials on private property,
Oh yeah, the
pwede kang
Bacolod
magbayad
case.
ngayon dun sa may-ari ng bahay. Mamamonitor ba yun? Medyo mahirap yun, di ba? Sabihin lang na may-ari ng bahay, kandidato ko yun eh. Di ba?
That's true, especially if it's not the actual campaign material of the candidate.
Yes.
Tsaka walang resibo yon. So hindi siya
Kaya
makakapasok dun sa campaign
sabi ko naman,
spending.
hindi ako bayad eh.
Baka kung 10-story building ng private owner, private siya, talaga sinusuportahan niya yung kandidato. Yung buong pader ng building niya, lalagyan niya ng ganong kalaki. Hindi yan mahuhuli, di ba? Yan ang problema dyan sa anong yan.
That's from the case ng Team Patay, Team Buhay sa Bacolod Cathedral.
Yes. Kung ganun kalaki, hindi ba? Halimbawa, yung building ng Signal TV, kapag yan nilagyan ng isang buong pagkalaki-laki, isang mukha lang.
Oo. Mukha ni Roel Llamas.
Hindi po, private yan eh. Private yan eh. Di ba?
Nakita nga kami ni Chabit nung Sabado sa isang birthday party. Sabi ko kay Chabit, Gob! Sabi ko, kahit saan ako pumunta, meron kayong billboard. Ba't kayo umatras?
ang lalaki nga
Bakit
eh.
kayo umatras? Sabi niya, na-pneumonia kasi ako eh. Nung gumaling ako, naisip ko, ano bang ginagawa ko rito? Sabi niya.
Kailan niya naisip yun?
Oo. Sabi niya, baka mapaano daw siya sa kampanya. Sabi ko
Sana marami magkagaroon ng ganyan epiphany, ano?
Epiphany, di ba?
Sana marami pa magkaroon, ano?
Makaramdam ng mortality, di ba?
Oo, hindi ba? Epiphany naman, ikaw naman. Magkaroon lang ng ganong epiphany na, ano ba ginagawa ko rito?
si Chavit, of course, was made famous by his money gun nung 2019 elections. Yung meron siyang malapistol na nagbubuga ng 500 piso o 1,000 ba yun? Yung ganun.
Ngayon, masikat siya doon sa fried chicken niya. Hindi ko nababanggitin yung yung brand. Baka sabihin, nag-advertise dito sa atin.
Ano yung fried chicken na yan?
Mas naalala ko siya
Masarap
nung
yung fried chicken niya.
Mas naalala ko siya nung sumasayaw sa harapan niya si ex-human rights lawyer Harry Roque.
Hindi ko na natatandaan yun, ha?
Hindi mo natandaan yun? Sumasayaw, nakagano talaga
Hindi
siya.
na.
Nakatulala siya.
Hindi, natatandaan ko na. Hindi ko alam na siya yung
Na-impress
kasama.
mo siya? Na-impress mo siya?
Natatandaan ko na sumasayaw nga, pero hindi ko natatandaan na siya yung katabi.
Ayun, siya, nakatingin siyang gano'n, no? Tapos parang nabasa yata yung...
Yung ano?
Wala.
Bigla kang natigil. Okay.
Hindi
Let's
ko
not
alam, hindi ko
continue
na
that
alam
thought. Baka matrobo tayo hindi oras. Hindi ko maging problema natin with the MTRC.
Kaya hindi ko makalimutan dahil medyo may nabasa. Parang
Pangako ng pangako ng Comelec, ha? I-text lang daw sa kanila yung mga reklamo, tandaan nyo, yung national, mga kandidato for Senate and party list. Yan, pag nakita nyo na mali yung pagkakapaskel, yung mga pader ng MRT, LRT, yan, bawal yun.
Ba't
Mga
pwede ba
pader
silang...
ng DPWH, bawal yun.
Pwede ba silang
Pader ng public school, ayan, bawal yun.
Pwede ba silang ma-disqualify dahil doon?
Pwede daw, di ba? Sabi niya, depende sa gravity ng Depende sa gravity ng violation, pwede kang ma-disqualify, ultimate.
May president may mga na-disqualify na mga local candidates.
Meron na nga mga na-disqualify
Ibig sabihin,
actually.
anybody can be
So,
disqualified.
huwag tayo mawalan huwag tayo ma-discourage na baka walang gagawin ng Comelec. Meron na silang 2 bago ngayong commissioner, Full na yung entire bench na, upo na. Ayan, yung mga ganyan, Yung poste ng Meralco, di ba dapat magbayad? Ayan, pader ng, I'm sure that's a public, public pader yan, fence na yan. Hindi ba? Yan,
Actually,
babawal na yan,
baka-
mga national.
Baka we need to get qualification and clarification ng COMELEC as far as yung private property is concerned. Kasi, of course, most building, or almost all buildings are private property. Does that mean nga na pwede ka magpa-skill and walang bilangan yun?
Hindi, tinanong ko na yung kay George Garcia.
Absolutely, walang
Yun
bilangan
nga
yun?
nireklamo niya Sabi niya, yan nga problema namin ngayon, hindi namin ma-regulate yan.
So, what's to
Sabi ko,
stop ito
paano tinanong ko rin siya, paano nyo malalaman kung binayaran lang yung bahay? Isa pa yan, sabi niya, hindi namin malalaman.
So what's to stop itong mga higanting electronic billboards sa tabi ng building from being used for advertising?
Yun, pwede mo siguro kasi halata naman na advertising yan eh. Pwede mong habulin yun na nagbayad ba yan sa inyo. Because it's an electronic billboard. Siyempre naman, I doubt kung ano yan, ano. I doubt kung hindi binayaran niya, kung libre-libre. Ang mahal-mahal niyan.
But you know how lawyers go.
Parang for now kasi, parang total yung freedom eh. No, walang...
Hindi pa. Kasi pati yung may-ari masabit eh. Di ba? Kung hindi, makikipag-partner daw. Yun ang sabi sa amin ni, wala ka pala Edno, no, nung kinausap namin si George Garcia. Makikipag-partner nga daw sila with BIR para habulin yung mga yan, nakukumita nga ng sa advertising. Ayan, yung ganyan. Obvious naman na yung isang yon, may bayad yun, yung napakalaking yon. Pero ito nakadikit sa poste, mukhang isinampa lang dyan, ano? Dapat yata magbayad sila sa Meralco, private property yan.
And mind you, even if these are not paid for, even if they're just donations are also counted in the election expenditures.
Counted. Kailangan yung i-report doon sa statement of contributions.
Iawas dapat yun sa expenses.
Yung
But
donation,
of course,
private
nobody really does that.
donation
That's the problem.
has to be declared.
Pero ba magbibilang niyan?
Nobody really does that. Yung nga eh. That's the problem eh. But people flying around in airplanes and
Yung mga
helicopters
sabi
for
ni
free.
George Garcia, kung nasa bahay, kailangan ipasok mo yon yung kung dinonate sa'yo, support ng supporter mo, kailangan i-declare yon. Yun ang sabi niya. Kung nasa building mo na ang laki-laki,
As an election
magkakaroon
expense.
siya ng valuation, kailangan i-declare mo.
As an election expense. Pero as far as, diba, may sizes yan na allowed eh. Sa COMELEC rules eh. You have only so many square feet of allowed advertising.
Sa yung public nga yan eh. Di ba, binawal
so unlimited yung
Kaya nga pinayagan. Yung sa simbahan, ang laki-laki.
Laki-laki nun eh.
Pinayagan
Sa Bacolod.
Natakpan na halos yung buong simbahan eh. Pinayagan eh. Kaya wala na yung size. Kaya kalokohan na yung common poster area. Wala na yun. The end.
Si Ami talaga, napaka-cynical ang taong to, no?
Nakikita ko, papunta rito, nakikita ko punong-puno harapan yung mga
Parang
nag-aaway
yami ka pa naman
ng mga
sa SLEX, ang dami-dami
Palakihan ng mga poster ngayon, na ngayon.
Diba? Sa SLEX, ang dami-daming billboard eh.
Oo nga.
Puro mga kandidato sa
Totoo
SLEX
naman yun,
eh.
naglolokohan na lang.
Kaya nga, wala na. Anarchy in campaigning.
Anyway, something to ask COMELEC Chairman George Garcia as soon as we get him back on in the show. Paano yung patakaran dyan. But we need to take a break just now, so please stay with us. We've got developing news and the stories behind the headlines. Welcome back to Storycon or the Story Conference. I'm Ed Lingao, and of course with us, Ami Pamintuan of the Philippine Star and Raul Llamas, our resident political pundit. Let's bring in our guests at this hour. Tito Ronald Holmes, President of Pulse Asia Research Incorporated. Sir, magandang hapon and welcome back to Storycon. Dr. Holmes.
That's a better introduction. Yeah, that's a better introduction than your introduction to Kayo.
Sir, may komento yung producer namin na bumabata daw kayo.
Ganyan talaga pag hindi mo pinapansin nangyayari sa ating bansa.
Saka ganyan talaga pag malayo ka sa bansa.
Okay. Meron kang insulation from all the trauma. Sir, of course, sir, we brought you in because we want to talk about the latest survey of Pulse Asia. Looking at the numbers and comparing them to previous surveys, parang tumaas yung mga pro-Duterte group. You're looking at Bongo, Bato de la Rosa, and Amy Marcos. I'm wondering lang, well, number one, did I get it right? And number two, do you see any reason for the increases in their ratings?
Maybe yung kay Bongo, the rank increased but the preference did not. That's one thing that we can say. No? Bumaba actually yung propulsion ng tao na bumoboto sa kanya. Pero dahil bumaba rin si Tito Soto, umakyat yung ranking niya. No? He's now tied from second to third. So Tito Soto, former Senate President, had a decline, I think, of about 9 points. Bongo had declined by about more than 4 points. Ang umakyat dito sa survey in terms of rank would be Amy Marcos, no? Because the increase is almost 6 points. And then Bato de la Rosa also increased by 4 points, and the rank also increased. So aside from these people, there are not that many significant changes. Basically, they retain their electoral preference. It's just that when some people decline in terms of electoral preference, the ranking changes.
Meron bang indication na nakatulong sa kanila itong controversy tungkol sa budget? Dahil ito si Aimee at saka si Bato ay sila yung mga prominent na bumabanat dito sa controversy tungkol sa GAA, no, nung panahon na yan.
Well, we put them in that. If we recognize that context, definitely it would have an impact in terms of electoral preference. But whether it's something that they benefited from directly, unfortunately, we don't have a question on that in the survey, so that I cannot correlate it nor cross-tabulate. There are other things that you can say about, let's say, some of the candidates. In the PCIJ report, Marcos was the one that had, almost $1 billion
Almost $1 billion in ad
expenditure.
values.
So that means if she increased by 6 points, just divide that billion by 6 points. That's how much each point costs, no? But that's just one. So there are many things. But the ones in contention are essentially the ones that we saw before. The only difference now is that you have Camille Villar in contention for the top 12 position.
Pero Doc, you're talking about the expenditure. Si Camille Villar, ganun din eh. Billion din yung...
Billion din, sir.
She and Aimee are the top spenders eh. Bakit ganun? Hindi pa rin makapasok dun sa ano?
Nakapasok na siya,
top 12.
Ami. Nakapasok na siya. Tied na siya eh. For the top, I think, 10 to 14 position. If I'm not mistaken. So, nakapasok siya, pero hindi ganun kalaki ang itinaas niya. 2 puntos lang eh. So,
considering the amount, ha?
Yun nga,
Considering the amount.
Many of the candidates in the past would always say, when we brief them, it's just, how much did you spend, and if the expenditure, how much did you gain? So if you increase by 2 points and you spend $1 billion, that means each point is half a billion pesos. So it's not a significant jump. So it's not really the frequency of the ads. It's really whether the messages that they have in the ads are connecting. And there's no significant increase, no, in her case.
How about the two
Nakikita niyo, may nakikita ba kayong common denominator for this the persons who consistently get into the top 12? May nakikita ba kayo? Di ba meron kayong ganong klaseng question? Kuminsan, ano yung possible factors for their good showing in the surveys? Sa ngayon, ano yung nakikita niyo?
Well, lumalabas basically in our question with regard to what are the things that eventually affect voting decision. It is basically their prior record as elected officials. And by that, I mean, I don't think that the public really looks at the record. It's just simply that they are elected officials, and for that matter, a number of them are nationally prominent. You see the awareness figures there, no? Anyone with universal awareness is essentially getting that much support, with the exception of one, the favorite of my tokayo, no? I think si Pastor Apollo Kibolay. Mataas awareness, pero ang baba ng
90%
preference.
awareness eh.
But that's one thing, no? You get to be popular, and that popularity, being known, is something that you can associate with preference. So that's one. The other thing is that if we examine the number of preferences, what we see in the survey is that half of Filipinos basically have 12 names that they've selected. And when I was looking at the data, it appears that those who are in contention are normally put among those 12. No? They're not top-of-mind choices, but they're constantly indicated by those who have selected 12 names. So mas distributed yung support sa kanila across the board compared to those who are not making it to the top 12.
How about yung dalawang pink candidates, Professor? Si Kiko at saka si Bang. Are they improving? Are they going down, going up? Dahil parang nandun sila sa nasa bingit. Parang indicatively lang, parang mas maganda yung position nila ngayon kaysa ng mga previous surveys.
Medyo bumaba si Kiko ng 4 points to kayo.
Okay.
No? Si Bam hindi naman masyadong gumalaw. Basically, nandun pa sila sa baba nung people who are in contention. I don't know what the factors are. No, they're not one of the big spenders. The only advertisements I've seen of the two are tandem advertisements. No, ibig sabihin silang dalawa. So baka kinakailangan ay mag-separate way sila, and then they get to communicate their message better. And maybe the messages that they're communicating are messages that are either kabit na, di ba? The people are used to it. Maybe they should embrace some other message beyond what they're communicating right now.
Sir, yung survey was done from January 18 until January 25. So this was prior to the impeachment by Congress and prior to the more active positioning of senatorial candidates and senators doon sa impeachment potential impeachment trial. So, ano yun, sir? Wala pa rito masyado yung impeachment issue dito sa numbers na to.
Wala pa, kasi hindi gumalaw di ba, nung Desyembre, so hindi masyadong nababalita. Definitely that would be factored in. You can factor that in the survey that we're conducting because we're doing monthly surveys right now.
No.
So that one will find out what the results are, no? Because right now, as you see, basically there are 10 in the alliance of the administration that are in. There are 2 people who are definitely with PDP Laban. And then you also have Willie Revillame, no? In that area. And his preference did not change also across the 2 surveys that we conducted from November to December.
Pero sir, you're counting...
November 2 now.
Yes, sir. Pero sir, you're counting IME as well dun sa admin slate. Tama ba? Kasi yung dalawa, I suppose you're referring to Bato and to Bongo.
Mali ba ako doon? Di ba siya...
Independent of siya.
Professor, what about yung mga I asked you this kanina off-cam, yung mga progressive saka yung mga labor groups, kasi high profile din naman sila. They're always on radio, on TV, multimedia din sila eh. They have a high social media presence as well. Bakit ganon? Medyo actually nasa ilalim, ano? May explanation ba kayo doon?
May mababang awareness sila, no? At least for the senatorial, what you see, for example, is that, let's say, Franz Castro has an 18% awareness, Teddy Casino, 28%. So that means that they might be radio, but if you look at, for example, nationally, when we have survey items on the primary sources or sources of information, nangunguna pa rin television, pumapangalawa internet. Sa Visayas sa Mindanao, malaki ang papel ng radyo. Halos 4 sa 10 ay nakikinig sa radyo sa Visayas at Mindanao. Pero television pa rin ang nangunguna. Halos lahat ay kumukuha ng impormasyon sa television. 8 sa 10 ay may access sa internet. At pati mo sila, kung ilan sa kanila nanonood, nakikinig, nagbabasa ng balita sa internet, lahat sila, no? Lahat ng 8 out of 10 Filipinos are in the internet. So, and then the internet is a tricky thing, no? May algorithm yan, di ba? So, kung sinusundan mo, yun ang pinipid sa'yo. Pag may sponsored feed, normally hindi mo pinapansin yun. So, that's the thing there. Look at the awareness ratings of those who are progressive, which is different from the party list, no? In the party list, you see that there would probably, if the elections were held at the time that we conducted the survey, the Makabayan group would probably have more seats than what they're holding right now.
Yes.
Sir, when you say awareness, sir, I suppose you don't mean popularity, no? I mean, how did you find awareness? Kasi you might be aware of somebody, pero he might not be popular or he might not be getting your vote. Kasi, for example, si Kibuloy, 90% ng kanyang awareness si Kibuloy, pero 3% ata yung preference sa kanya, which is radically different from his awareness levels.
Ibig sabihin, yung awareness sa kanya, negative.
Negative.
Simple lang yung tanong sa awareness, hindi namin pinoprobe na, no? May narinig, nabasa, o napanood na ba kayo tungkol sa doon particular pangalan. So it's basically awareness would be whether they heard, read, or watched something. Yung lalim ng pagkakaalam nila, hindi na pinoprobe yan. There are some candidates in the past who would have rider questions, but with respect to all of the candidates here, that's the only question that we have across all of the candidates.
Prof, sa dekada na karanasan nyo sa surveys, ay meron bang level na halimbawa top 3, top 4 na sigurado na sila na kahit anong mangyari in the next 3 months ng kampanya, ay sigurado na silang mananalo. Meron bang ganyang cut-off? Or anything goes. Halimbawa, meron kang Osmeña na dati ay top 2, top 1, pero eventually ay natalo. Meron kang Coco Pimentel na 2019, number 4, tapos eventually naging number 11. May ganun ba na parang...
May guarantee ka ba?
Oo, may guarantee ka ba na pag ikaw ay nasa top 3, top 4 ay sigurado ka na?
Oo, halos medyo hindi naman guaranteed, no? Unless may pagkakamali na may scandal. Maaaring bumaba ka sa ranking, maaaring nandun sa dulo. Mayroong iba na nasa top 6, no? Sa mga naunang survey, bigla nawala, no? Hindi na naalaw sa eleksyon. So, in a sense, it's really how much they will be able to maintain the preference that they have right now. Because, as I said, we're seeing changes. No? If you have Tito Soto, for example, declining by 9 points, or Ben Tulfo declining by almost 7 points, that's an area of concern for that particular candidate. And we don't know whether the other candidates would increase in terms of preference, because the differences among the candidates would be quite small, no? Except, and then the other thing I should note is that right now, Erwin Tulfo has 62%. But that's quite a high number if you look at the actual election results of the one who makes it to that number 1 position. So masyadong mataas yan, no? Para ma-maintain na. Kaya siguro whether he can maintain it will really depend on, and the campaign starts tomorrow, no? So it will depend really on what he does during the campaign, or what he does not do, whether he participates in the debate. If he does not, whether that will benefit him or not. And how much more material he would dish out to the public in order to sustain the support.
Prof, for now ba
Professor, nire-revive ng COMELEC. I understand, matagal nang nag-ruling ang Supreme Court dito, no, on the surveys. Pero nire-revive ng COMELEC yung proposal to impose some form of regulation on surveys for elections, pre-election surveys. What do you think of that? Kasi inuulit niya yung argument na mind conditioning daw, especially dito sa ganitong mga environment natin na medyo kulang yung yung capacity ng mga tao for informed choices for a lot of reasons. Anong tingin niyo dun sa argument na yun?
Well, the Supreme Court may have stood on that one. No? It is right to information. We will simply respond to the COMELEC in due time if they do have a resolution. I remember the COMELEC raised that point during the incumbency of former chairperson Brillantes, essentially saying that we should declare who the subscribers are, because the subscribers, some of them might be candidates, and the expenditures in a subscription to survey should form part of their statement of campaign expenditures. That's okay. We will comply with that one. But whether the survey should be stopped, or whether there should be a regulation in terms of the dissemination of surveys, that's quite dangerous, because again, it deals with the fundamental right to information. Just imagine namin, no? Pag pinatigil mo, for example, we've been doing surveys for 25 years. And you see other surveys that show different results, starkly different results. And you have other candidates who pronounce that they're leading. So do you shut the mouths of the other candidates who say that they're leading in their own surveys?
So far, ang sinasabi lang naman ni Chairman, yun na nga, nabanggit niya na, yung mga regulation na iniisip nila to compel survey firms to disclose kung commissioned siya, who commissioned it. Ganun pa lang naman yung sinasabi nila na as far as you're concerned, that's, well, Pulse Asia does it naman, di ba? Yan naman talaga yung ginagawa niya. It's commissioned, who commissioned it. Saka yung methodology daw. Gusto nilang malaman ng konti yung detalye kung paano yung methodology.
Yeah, and the methodology is found on our website, no? Although the last survey, the methodology is the same. The technical details are the same as the surveys that we've conducted over the past 25 years. So we're an open book. We do not in any way, we will not deny the COMELEC any of that information, but definitely we would object to the banning of the dissemination of information Because, you cannot blame us for, as you said, the lack of informed choices. There are many things that go on in this election, and I think what we have is really a deeper problem beyond, let's say, just simply the solution of prohibiting or regulating the release of survey results.
Prof, may mga PR strategies na nagsasabi, ito yung magiging first election na dominant daw ang social media. Meron ba kayong indications na ganyan sa inyong mga recent surveys para to belie yung fact na yon na magiging dominant ang social media rito? Or is it still to be proven? No?
Well, mahirap sabihin na yung botante ay ni-influensya ng nasa social media directly. Ang pwede natin sabihin, as I mentioned, in our surveys, when we ask whether they have access to the internet, 8 out of 10 Filipinos say they have access to the internet. When we ask them what do they do in the internet, all of them basically read, watch, and listen to news or information about politics and government. Now, where do they do this? All of them basically who say they read, watch, listen to the news about politics, government. Ang main platform nila is Facebook. That's 100%. Following that is about 80% say YouTube. Pero yung Facebook may algorithm yan eh. Yung YouTube pwede mo rin may algorithm rin yan, pero pwede ka rin pumili. So hindi natin alam yung extent ng disinformation at malinformation na nandoon na nakaka-apekto sa disposisyon ng mga tao. So yun yung mahirap, no, Tokayo. And that has to be studied. And there are people who study it, and basically they say mere access to social media doesn't necessarily equate with the influence of social media on voting decision.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Maraming salamat for joining us this afternoon, Dr. Ronald Holmes, ang Pangulo po ng Pulse Asia. Sir, always a pleasure to have you on board.
Maraming salamat.
Thank you,
Salamat, Prof.
Doctor.
Okay, bye-bye.
And thank you for joining the Storycon today. Aming Pamintua, an editor ng Philippine Star, and Tito Ronald Llamas, our resident political pundit. Join us again tomorrow, campaign day. Para sa nationals tsaka sa party list.
Hooray! Hooray!
Hooray ba yun? So, good luck sa atin lahat. Okay? Pero at least simulan ng kampanya. Hindi na yung nagdadayaan sila. Okay? Join us again tomorrow at 4 p.m. for the Storycon. I'm Ed Lingao. We are One News, all sides, all the time.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.